All right, 3, 2, 1, and let's rock.
Bam.
What up, man?
What up?
Man, I was actually, to be completely honest with you, when I messaged you the other day to come on, and you guys, I know, but I was actually in the car the one time that I actually did leave my house with working from home.
Right.
Rush came on. And I was like, you know what? That's a sign to me that I have to get Josh Belcher on here.
Yeah, that one comes up a lot.
Yeah, and I know where you came on. It's been over 2 months now. I think we just talked about that.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And that episode, you guys actually broke my cherry. So when it comes to bringing people on, you guys are my very first guests.
Cool.
And even though we couldn't get the video working, my fault, people. I'm sorry. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, I'm psyched for you to come back on, man. I always enjoy talking to you and
always
everything like that. So so how's everything been for you the last few months? And I see you got a new house behind you.
I do. I have a giant penthouse. Not really. Me and him didn't even know that there were these filters that you could do because specifically, I can't speak for Michael, but I haven't used Skype probably since like our senior year of high school. So for those listening that don't know me and Michael, that's 10 going on 11 years ago. And Skype is quite different from when we were in school. So I figured it's better than my backdrop with my keys. So we went with that. How has shit been? Work. Still in the midst of a bullshit pandemic that people have not shut up about. And working IT during a time where people work from home is hell.
Oh,
absolute hell.
So if you could, is there, when you're at work and everything with a lot of people working from home, what is the one thing that just grinds your gears, that just fucking pisses you off?
About them working?
Yeah,
I would say, and it's because the bulk of them are not technologically savvy, that when people work from home and especially if they're using specifically VPN connections, or if they're using a remote connection back to their software and their computer at an office space, if their internet sucks, they refuse to acknowledge that their internet is the issue, and they think it's something that IT is doing or that we can easily fix. And it's like, we can't fix your internet. That's your ISP. So I don't know what to tell you. But for the most part, they the where I work, the bulk of people really get it. If they live in BFE, they're like, I'm probably not working from home. So,
I mean, I don't know about you. I am just ready for, everything to go back.
Oh, big time.
I think a lot of people will. I don't know how it is where you work or anything like that, but I think a lot of companies will continue to work from home. Not everyone per se.
Right.
I think it's just cheaper. And I know where I work, that's what they're wanting to eventually do. Now things can change, but I think that's what they're wanting to do. It's cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan.
Right. I think in the place of where I work, the older people, even if this goes back to normal, the older people will probably continue to work from home because they've gotten used to it and they like it, because they don't have to leave their house if they don't want. And the only time they have to come to our office is if they physically have to do something in their office. But we've got basically everyone to where they understand that if you know what you're doing, you can do everything that you do at the office from home. So we've gotten a lot of people understanding that. They were kind of apprehensive at first, but once they got used to it, they really liked it. So I kind of agree with you. I think it'll probably, I don't know if everybody, like you said, I think probably up to 20% of whatever a place's workforce is will probably opt to work from home.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually just thinking about it today because I think today is October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually thinking last year at this time was the first day of NHL regular season.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, like they just ended the other night.
Yeah, literally just ended the Stanley Cup.
So did you watch any of that, or did you?
Man, you know me, I'm a Blackhawks fan, and when we got knocked out by you, I still watched like a handful of games. I was rooting for Vegas after the Blackhawks got knocked out. Then you all got knocked out.
Yeah.
And then I was rooting for the Islanders. Then they got knocked out, and it became Tampa Bay and Dallas. And I hate Tampa Bay, so I don't care about Dallas. So I guess I'm rooting for Dallas. And then, lo and behold, what happens? There goes my cat.
Dude just ran out of the fucking room like
Dude,
window.
he does it all the time. But I rooted for Dallas. I thought they stood a chance. And it was an interesting series, but I don't know. Tampa Bay plays so... they remind me of the Penguins. They play so dirty and get away with it. Like, I can't remember what game it was and who they were even playing. I want to say it was, I want to say they were playing the Islanders. And no joke, there was one of theirs, I don't think it was Stamkos, but one of their players shot a loose puck into the opposing team's bench and tried to play it off as an accident. And it's like, dude, that's dirty even by Sidney Crosby standards. That was a dirty play. I don't know. I have nothing for Tampa Bay at all. I don't like them. I don't hate them as much as I hate Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's probably my least favorite hockey team that there is. I cannot stand the Penguins.
Anything Pittsburgh.
Pretty much.
I can't do it.
If they had because I only really keep up with two sports, hockey and basketball. If they had an NBA team, I would hate them too. It's just I can't stand Pittsburgh in general.
My thing with Pittsburgh is I think it stems back to View.
Oh yeah, for you guys, I get it.
You know, it's just like I think I had a couple buddies in high school that love Pittsburgh. No, that's just really grinding my gears. Like you just hear like, oh, 6 rings, like fuck your 6 rings or whatever it is.
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I know they've won. I know their teams have won championships. I couldn't tell you how many and in what sports, but I do know Pittsburgh has won championships, whether it's the Steelers or the Pirates. I don't know. Have the Pirates won anything?
I think it's been a while. It's been a while for the Pirates.
I definitely don't keep up with. I hate football like with a passion. That's probably my least favorite sport. Baseball. I'm kind of neutral towards. I don't really care one way or the other. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I don't know, man. I gravitated towards hockey and basketball, and I've stayed that way since. I love, Blackhawks, and my basketball team is the Bulls. The Bulls don't do shit, so I never have to keep up with them in the playoffs. But second to them, probably by default, man, would be Miami because I love Jimmy Butler. Yeah. And then, man, did they choke?
Oh.
Did they choke yesterday?
Man,
it was bad.
I watched a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know one of my buddies who's a huge Lakers fan, so he's eating it up.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's just I try really hard to get into the NBA. I like Portland myself.
Okay. I like Trailblazers.
I try to really get into it. I've gotten into it more lately, and about last year.
Yeah.
Now me personally, hockey and football and college sports like baseball and stuff like that.
Okay.
Those are my main sports. I've tried to get into the MLB a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball I've really tried to get. I just can't get into the NBA a lot. It's really, really hard. Now, college, I could watch college basketball all day.
I like college basketball a lot too. I'm a Jayhawks fan, so I'm used to. That's one of the only sports, or one of the only like leagues where I have a team that consistently does well. Is the Jayhawks. So I watch them whenever I get a chance to. I watch, like I said, I do watch basketball. I watch hockey. I don't know, man. Scottie Pippen said this the other day on something on ESPN, and he's gotten a lot of heat for it, and I actually kind of agree with him. He's talking about like the games that are going on in the bubble and stuff, and saying how he just considers it to be pickup and not genuine NBA basketball. And I kind of agree with him, because everybody's making out what they're doing is like this really difficult, hard, arduous task. And it's like, you're pinned up in Walt Disney World in a 5-star resort, and you literally go and play basketball and then go back to your room. Like, the worst thing is that you're away from your family, but how is that any different from when you're in the playoffs and you're not home? So it's there's no difference. So if anything, every team should be that much better, because the only thing they have to do is go wake up, go play basketball, practice, go to sleep. That's all they do. So this should be the best basketball there is. And I'm not going to say that all of them have been bad, man. The Denver and Utah series was incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, I watched all 7 games of that. That was such a good series. Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray going back and forth for 50-point games. That, I don't know, dude. That goes up there for me, like, playoff series wise. That's up there with like Michael Jordan's playoffs.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, they were really good basketball. And just the story behind it, because Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, it's always been kind of like a contested thing between the two of them. So the fact that they went back and forth, and it was it was competitive, and it was such a close series. Like, it went all 7 games, and it took Donovan Mitchell, I think in game 7, he still scored close to 40, I'm pretty sure. And Jamal Murray was held to like, I don't know, 28, maybe 30. And it still wasn't enough. And Denver pulled it out of their ass. And then did it again against the Clippers. Like,
yeah. I mean, what Denver did, though, in both those series, the Utah and the Clippers series, coming back from 3-1.
Oh, I know.
Like, that's impressive within itself.
Yep.
Even though, I'm not a fan of neither team or whichever, but if you came back from 3-1, that's difficult within its own.
Oh, for sure.
And to do it twice, I mean, you gotta, even though you didn't win it all, you gotta pat yourself on the back about that one. That's crazy. That's the chances of that.
I give Denver more credit than almost any team out of the West in terms of the playoff performances. I mean, the Mavericks were really good in the playoffs. My bets on what were going to be the playoffs got screwed thanks to Kawhi choking. But I did have Miami coming out of the East, and I had them going against the Clippers, and I actually had Miami winning in 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I got screwed thanks to Kawhi choking in Game 7. And Paul George choking literally the entire playoffs. That and the poor Clippers, dude. I kind of agree. I read it somewhere. I don't remember where it was. That the best thing the Clippers could do is drop the Clippers name, make a new team, still be based out of Los Angeles if you want. But you need to drop the Clippers name, because now that makes 50 consecutive seasons they have never made it to the finals.
Man, I have a family member that is a huge, huge Clippers fan, and he's probably going to be listening to this.
So he's like, I'm going to tread lightly here.
Man, this guy, man, I grew up and I never heard of a Clippers fan. Not once.
Not really.
Not once. You hear about Lakers fans.
Oh, sure.
Around here, but Clippers fans. And, man, I'll give him, man, I was living with him at the time, And when they got Kawhi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came home from lunch. This is like, because he was working nights. Mm-hmm. He came home and he was like, yeah, we got Kawhi.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's that kind of fan, you know, but yeah, I haven't talked to him since they blew that 3-1 lead. But I can't say much about blowing leads because my team just does it all the time.
Right.
I mean, look at the Falcons, for Christ's sakes. I mean, shit.
Oh, your football. Okay.
I mean, Vegas is blown. I mean, last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they just to the Sharks blew that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how I know they're my team.
Right. Because you stuck with it.
Well, no, because they blow leads. That's how I know. It's like, you know what? Not my team until they blow a lead.
That's right, man. I'm with you. I've stuck with basketball-wise. I've stuck with the Bulls since we were kids. I've been a Bulls fan ever since. I remember, like, Rodman was the reason I fell in love with the Bulls. So when they picked up Rodman, because that's my favorite player of all time. I love Dennis Rodman. Obviously, Jordan and Pippen were great too, but I don't know. I just loved Rodman. So after that dynasty gets broke up, it moves to, quite a few years later. Then you got D Rose. That was incredible basketball. He was a monster. Picks up Jimmy Butler in, what was that, 2011, 2012, I think is when he got drafted.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I picked up Jimmy Butler, and the dude's personality is what I loved about him because he's not for everybody. He'll flat out tell you his personality's not cut out to just, you either love him or you hate him, kind of like Westbrook, but more likable. Yeah. And so the Bulls have always been my team, even when they suck, and that's how I know that a team is like, I gravitate towards them, that even when they suck, I'm still a fan. Like, I've been a Blackhawks fan since 2001. We didn't start doing good again until 2010.
Yeah, when we were in I remember because it was towards the end of high school. They ran off. They won so many championships with so many years.
Yeah, it was 2010, 2013, and 2015. Yeah. So we won. They don't want to call it a dynasty because it wasn't 3 consecutive, but it was 3 within 5 years, so they don't have a choice but to call it a dynasty. And I don't get me wrong, like I'm glad it brought fans to the Blackhawks, but I can't stand the culture of bandwagoning in general. That just drives me nuts. Like, remember what happened with Golden State whenever they started winning, and then you got Steph and Clay, and then they somehow got Kevin Durant. And like, I hated the Golden State Warriors because of how many bandwagoning fans there were, which is why I hate the Lakers. Actually, that's a lie. I hate LeBron James. Is why I hate the Lakers. I can't stand that asshole.
I mean, I think the thing is, and I wanted to ask you about this too, speaking of Chicago.
Yeah.
But did you watch the documentary?
Oh, yeah, The Last Dance.
What'd you think about it? I think that was a sweet-ass documentary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a Bulls fan, because I'm a Jordan fan. I'm biased in saying that probably pound for pound was the best documentary of any genre ever, just because of how in detail it was and the way that director broke it up into like fast forward and rewinds, where you're looking at Michael's last season, but bringing it back to where it's like in 91, or how the 97 playoffs paralleled stuff that Jordan was doing in 92. And it was just really well done. I'd be lying if I said my favorite episodes weren't like 3 and 4 because they were Rodman centric. But I don't know. The only thing I really don't like about The Last Dance was how little Pippen was involved. I feel like Scottie, he got love because Michael said without Scottie Pippen, there'd be no Michael Jordan. And I'm glad he said that because people give Scottie nowhere near enough credit for how good he was. But the fact that I don't even remember how many, he had one episode devoted to Scottie that I remember. I don't know if that was maybe it was episode 2.
Yeah, because they had that, because they talked about Scottie whenever Michael left to play baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they had that game. I can't remember what episode or anything like that, but I remember them saying it was when Michael was retired. And, like, I guess he quit on him or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like, he walked, like, he's like, nah, I'm not playing anymore, like, tonight or whatever it was. And I remember that because that was the season Michael wasn't playing. But,
right.
Yeah, I think they had only, about one episode. Somebody correct us wrong, but
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's just one episode dedicated straight to Scottie Pippen.
I think you're right. And the game, I don't even remember. I want to say it was the Knicks they were playing, but the fact that he wanted to run the play through Tony Kukoc and not give the ball to Scottie to take the shot. That's why he sat on the bench, and he's like, no, I won't even go out there and play, which was obviously a bitch move. But when you're riding in Michael Jordan's shadows and Michael's now gone and you've been carrying the team, who would they have given the ball to if Michael was playing? Michael. Yeah. So Scottie arguably wanted to say the same thing. He's like, why is the ball not coming to me? But Kukoc at the time was, that was a lights-out shooter. The dude was a spot-up shooter. That's who the ball should have gone to. I mean, either him or Steve Kerr is who should have got it. I wouldn't have given it to Pippen. And he's great, but I wouldn't have given it to him. Not with the rest of the people who were there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. But that's just me.
Yeah, you can feel why he did that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand it.
Because especially how you said it is, he's right. I mean, for the last, I don't know how many years, he was behind Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And he finally gets his shot.
Right.
Gets his season to, show what he can do, which I think he took the Bulls, to the conference finals or conference semifinals? Something at least.
Yeah.
So, and he did pretty,
I'm pretty sure it was second round. I think you're right, because remember, Michael came back from baseball, and it was like 15 games left in the regular season.
Yeah.
And he came in, and Orlando was who knocked him out, swept him. And it was that following year that Michael was like, well, fuck, that's not happening. And he tore him apart that following season.
I mean, dude, that Orlando team, though.
They were good.
You got Penny Hardaway. You got Shaq.
Yeah. Horace Grant.
Did they have Horace Grant? I think because that documentary they had about the Magic, that 30 for 30, that was a sweet documentary, too.
Oh, yeah.
I think ESPN, say what you want about their content nowadays, which is complete ass.
I agree.
Let me go and say that. But their documentaries are on point.
Oh, they're solid, man. I can't knock those.
No. And to The Last Dance, I would say, counting sports, history, whichever, that's a top 5 documentary.
For sure. I agree.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone hasn't watched it, watch it.
Because it was great. And for so many different people, would that have been good? Like, if you were a sport fanatic, it covers so many other teams than just the Bulls. If you were a Chicago Bulls fan, it obviously covers the Bulls. If you're a Jordan fan, it covers Jordan. If you're a sneakerhead, there's a whole episode that was just about Jordans. So like, and it even had Tinker Hatfield, who designed, Michael's from the 3 up until the Air Jordan 17, I want to say. Actually, no, probably up to the 20, because I remember that weird bicycling shoe that wasn't very cool and got a lot of shit. I think that was the 20, and I'm pretty sure that was Tinker's last shoe. But yeah, I mean, it covers so much, like you said. If you're looking at solely from a historical perspective, it covers it. If you're looking for just Michael, you got a Michael perspective. I don't know, dude. It covers so much great shit that I feel, because I'm a biased fan of the Bulls, I feel like I'm always hyping it to people, and they're taking it from a perspective of, I just love the Bulls. But it's like, no, dude, you don't have to like the Bulls to like that documentary.
No, it was
really good.
It is a really, really good, and I'm not a Lakers fan by any stretch, but to the Lakers point here in a second, but I think that documentary really made Michael Jordan more human to a lot of people.
For sure.
Because it showed a lighter side of him. Yes, he was, when it comes to winning, I think the only other athlete in that sport that I could think of that wants to win just as much would have probably been Kobe.
Kobe, for sure.
Kobe's the only other one that I think would have. And I loved when they brought him in, to the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. I think that was sweet. As a Kobe fan, I'm not a Lakers fan by any means, but Kobe was always one of my most favorite athletes basketball-wise. I always loved watching Kobe, just the same as like a J.J. Redick in college.
Oh, man.
I hate Duke with a passion.
But I love J.J. Redick.
Man, I would watch I remember in middle school.
Yeah.
Because that was when he was there. And I remember I would watch Duke just to watch J.J. Redick play.
He was a monster.
I would watch the Lakers just to watch Kobe play. I remember I think we would have been 8th grade. Mm-hmm. 8th grade when Kobe had 81 points against Toronto.
Yeah. Against Jalen Rose.
Yeah. And I remember watching that on SportsCenter, man, like the next day. Stuart Scott, man. Like, dude, that shit was, I love watching those players.
He was so good, and that's what I hate where the current GOAT debate is, of where people only look at like the options are Michael or LeBron, and it's like, dude, I put Kobe above LeBron anyways, and I put Kobe damn near to Michael. I mean, it's almost tied for me. It's Michael's got it just by a little bit because of 6 rings versus 5. But if you look at the rest of their statistics, dude, the ability to take over a game, Kobe and Michael. The ability to score just about anything that's inside of 2-point range, Kobe and Michael. They're both not great at 3-point range. Their 3-point percentage was fairly low. Kobe's was higher than Michael's, obviously. Both were great passers, even though they didn't like to do it. But they had great assist ability. I don't know, man. I hate that people only got involved with putting Kobe in the debate strictly because he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's infuriating.
I had Kobe, I guess to a lot of people, in our generation, our age, mm-hmm. I would say we're more the Kobe generation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
The only thing I remember watching Michael Jordan, honestly, to be completely honest with you, was when he was with the Wizards. That's actually being able to remember watching him play.
Yeah.
Live, not, I would love to be able to see him in the Bulls, but yeah, we were live. We were in like kindergarten, 1st grade, whatever, but actually being able to physically remember watching. Now, Kobe, of course, LeBron, LeBron's been in the league since I think we were like middle school, whatever. I don't know what it was. 5th. Yeah, it was middle school.
2003.
Yeah.
2003 was his rookie.
Yes, we've seen I can remember all LeBron's career and probably 3/4 of Kobe's. But me personally, it all goes to Kobe. I think Kobe, if I'm picking somebody to take the last shot, I would take MJ, but if it's between Kobe and LeBron, LeBron's great in his own right. He's a different type of player.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, you can call me biased or whatever, but man, I'm a huge Kobe guy, and if I'm picking one,
I'll take Kobe.
I feel like I lost a dog, like a pet, dude. Like I
remember it.
That shit's nuts, man. Like he's just, but
I was visiting a friend actually, and I remember because it was so early, it was weird. On the 26th, I was at a friend's house, and we're sitting and talking, and then somebody texted them and said that they think Kobe Bryant died. Well, they didn't say Bryant. They said they think Kobe died. And I'm like, Kobe who? Because there's no way you're talking about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, it's Kobe Bryant. And then we pop up on ESPN, look on ABC, look on all these major news sites, and it was that helicopter crash. And I was like, there's no way. Because remember, it was either the night before or 2 nights before that LeBron.
It was a day after, yeah, because he sent LeBron a tweet that night.
Yeah.
And the next morning he died. Yeah.
Yep. And that's that. Like I said, I hate LeBron I mean, I don't like him in basketball either, but the reason I hate LeBron is from his personal perspective, I've hated everything he's done off the court. You know, people hype it up like he's done all this great shit, and it's like, but he's a shitty human being. But I cannot stand, like, I will always give credit where it's due. LeBron is incredible. The stuff that he's done has been nuts. The longevity of his career has been nuts. I think by the time the career is all said and done with, it'll be between him and Kareem of who had the all-time greatest career. Kareem's is going to be tough to beat, just based on longevity, based on records, based on titles. It's going to be tough to beat him. But what LeBron is going to be probably able to accomplish by the time it's said and done with, I mean, it's between the two of them. Neither one of them would I say is the greatest player of all time, because I don't genuinely think there's ever going to be a player that comes in that I'm going to say is better than Michael. Like, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think what a lot of people, because it's one of those things that people comparing generations.
Sure.
That's the thing, you know, how would would he be able to play in the 90s? Would Michael be able to play today? Which I think Michael would definitely be able to play today. There's no question about that. Or in whichever, you know, with how defenses are more relaxed nowadays, you know, hell,
Michael would tear him up.
You know, the thing is with the Michael in the Pistons series, you know, they're in the would have been the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, Lambeer was, I mean, those boys from Detroit. Man, there's one. I think Michael ended up doing some nice move on him, but man, Lambeer was about to come down
slammed
with a
him.
hammer. I mean, I mean,
it was that. It was that 1990. I want to say the Eastern Conference Finals, because Michael won his first in 91. The first three-peat was 91, 92, 93. Obviously, the last time Michael, or pretty much the only time, other than when he came back in from baseball. The only time that he was knocked out of contention was in 1990, which there's multiple times, you know, the series between Cleveland and 89, the series that they had between the Pistons, which are some of the best basketball games ever, as the Bulls and the Pistons between 90 and 91. Those were incredible. But, you know, those, I think, to touch on something you said was, would Michael be able to play in today's basketball? He would tear defenses apart, because now you can make even less contact and you're going to the foul line.
Yep.
So Michael averaging, you know, 35 and 40 a game. In today's basketball, I think Michael would average 60.
Oh, really?
Oh, easily. Because he's still going to shoot as well as he did, but how many times did he drive to the paint that now today that would be considered he'd get a foul?
True.
And his foul shooting percentage was incredible. So his free throw was awesome. But to that, I don't like the argument that LeBron couldn't have done the 90s. He could have. I don't think he would be as much of a monster as he is now, but his height and the position like he plays. I mean, he's what, 6'9"?
He's like 6'8". He's literally like Gronkowski. Like,
he's like 6'8", 6'9". The dude is stout.
I think he could have definitely played in the 90s.
Oh, for sure.
I think it would have toughened him up a lot.
Oh yeah. You know, imagine
I think
him going against the Pistons, the Sonics.
Yeah, I think he could have mustered it, and I think he could have played in the 90s. I think he could have. Now, I don't think he'd be as dominant.
Oh, not at all.
He'd still be dominant.
He'd still be great. I still think he'd be good.
He'd be great. But, you know, LeBron, I think the thing that really turns a lot of people off from LeBron is, of course, you have the off the court stuff.
Right.
But then also you have a lot of people, and it goes back to the generational thing, is you have fans of Michael Jordan, you have fans of Kobe. You know, they are loyal to that player, you know.
For sure.
You have people nowadays, you know, they will defend LeBron until, you know, kingdom come. You know, and it's the same deal with Michael. It's the same deal with Kobe. It's the same deal with, if you're Charles Barkley, I mean, I'm not saying Charles Barkley is up there, but
I think he's great though.
He is great. I think he's underappreciated, but
yeah,
as in those
Barkley
three
was
players,
great. Yeah, he's not in the category of like Michael and Kobe, not at all. But he was. I'm with you. I think he's underappreciated. Some of the shit that he did in Philly, some of the shit he did in Phoenix, dude, he was incredible.
Yeah,
and he was one of the players that gave Michael the hardest time was Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the players that Michael Jordan caused to not get a championship.
Oh, I know, man.
Look at Stockton and Malone. Twice.
Yeah.
Was it twice?
Twice. Yeah, it was twice. 2 series in a row, man.
They fucking didn't get it twice, man.
Yeah.
So Stockton and Malone should at least have 2 titles.
True.
Portland would have had one there in the 90s.
Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
Didn't get one because of that.
Charles Barkley. That's the only thing that Charles Barkley's missing off his resume.
Is a title. No, I agree. Title.
That's it. And I love Charles Barkley.
I do too. I think he's a great player.
I love it when he's on TV, this and that, but I think that's the one thing that he was missing, is that championship.
Sean Kemp.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you another good team.
Oh, Patrick Ewing.
Oh, shit.
Forgot about Patrick Ewing there for a second.
What didn't they they made the championship, but they lost.
Yeah.
Because it was when Michael Jordan wasn't around. So it would have been was it Houston they played? Houston won it with Olajuwon. Was it? No, it was Let me look that up, man.
That would have been. Let's see. Michael was out 94 to 95 was his baseball season. 95, 96, 96, 97, and 97, 98 were his three-peats. His second three-peats. I don't remember, man. It was the Knicks. Was it Houston?
Houston won in 94. And they beat the Knicks 7 games.
That's it. Okay.
So there's that one.
That kind of almost, well, no, it doesn't discredit because Michael did prevent.
Houston won back to back. Oh,
did they really 94 and 95?
Yeah, they won back to back, man. Yeah,
I didn't remember that.
They beat the Magic 4-0.
Oh, wow. So a straight sweep, which is what everybody thinks the Lakers and the Heat's going to be. I don't actually. I still have.
I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep.
I still have the Heat winning it. I think it'll take 7, but I do think because the same reason why Michael was a monster is the same reason Jimmy Butler is to me. You get the dude pissed off, he's going to tear you apart. And the Lakers, the thing that pisses me off so much is look at the Heat's depth of from their starting to their bench of how much better their entire team is than Los Angeles. Because the Lakers have, they have LeBron, they have Anthony Davis. But once you get past that, what is genuinely good on the Lakers? A washed up Dwight Howard, a washed up JaVale McGee, a washed up Rajon Rondo,
Danny Green,
a borderline washed up Danny Green. I mean, he got it with the Spurs. Yes, he got it with the Raptors. That dude has played like shit almost all season. A balding Alex Caruso, which I'm so sick of hearing people talk about how great he is because I don't see it. Like, I think he's a good role player, but I do not see that dude being great. A bullshit player like Kyle Kuzma, which really should have been traded when Lakers were trying to pick up Anthony Davis. The fact that they got rid of people like Brandon Ingram instead of Kyle Kuzma is stupid. But I'm glad because, like I said, I'm glad to see Ingram on a team where he's actually going to be used. But so there's the Lakers, right? And then you got bullshit like Quinn Cook and Jared Dudley. Why he's still in the NBA is beyond me. But then you got Miami. Jimmy's fantastic. The dude is a floor general. Bam has been incredible. But he's been hit and miss in the playoffs. Like that game 6 against Boston, he was a monster. Dude dropped 34, 35, 14 rebounds. He was nuts. But the game before that, I think he ended up with like 10 points or something. Like, he's so inconsistent, but he's young. But then you got their J.J. Redick wannabes, as I refer to them, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, which are incredible. Got Kendrick Nunn. That dude is a bucket. Kelly Olynyk, who I think is really great. Goran Dragic, who's also really great.
Had him on my fantasy team.
Jay Crowder, Andre Iguodala.
Iguodala, man, I feel like he's been around for a long time.
He has, dude. And that's the weird thing is, like, yeah, you look at the Lakers of who do they have that are considered old has-beens and washed-up players, like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Iguodala, I think, has been around just as long as what JaVale McGee has, but this is Iguodala's 6th consecutive finals appearance.
Let me see here.
Thanks to, obviously, his time with the Warriors. But, you know, Iguodala was smart about the Memphis buyout and was like, no, I'm not going to just any team. I'm going to a team that actually stands a chance. And he, you know, held out and picked Miami. I would have liked to have seen him play with Ja Morant. And I think it could have helped Ja Morant's game a lot. Not like it needed that much help, but I think it could have helped. But I don't knock him for holding out and being like, no, I'm going to a contender if somebody's going to buy me out. So I'm glad he went to Miami.
I mean, he was drafted. When do you think he was drafted?
Iguodala?
Yeah, just take a guess.
I'm guessing. Shit, I don't know. I'm guessing before Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we were in middle school.
We were in middle school? Wow. Yeah. The oldest I was going to say was 06. So high school. So when was he actually drafted?
2004.
A year after LeBron.
Yeah.
Wow.
First round, 9th overall. Philadelphia.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think Iguodala had been in there that long.
I didn't think so. I didn't think he was that. I didn't think he was in there for that long. But yeah, he's been in there, you know, for a long time.
And that's what's crazy. He still produces. Like, he's still a great player. I think at best, I don't know if I necessarily would put Iguodala as a starter. I would say he's like a 6-man. I think he's great in that role as a 6-man. I don't know if kind of like Lou Williams. Is Lou Williams good enough to be a starter? Absolutely. But does he thrive in the role of a 6-man? Yeah. So, and I think that's where Iguodala is could he be a starter? Yeah. But I think he works better as an off-bench player because he gets rested. So I think he does better there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely Iguodala is not a starting 5 right now.
I don't think so.
At this point, no. But, you know, he does thrive, and you got to find those positions where they thrive in, especially at that age.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, man, that's crazy. He's been in the league that long. That's crazy.
I didn't think it had been that long, for one. And for two, the point that why I think the Heat will end up coming back, I do think it'll take 7 games to do it. This is going to look really funny when you come back on these episodes later on because it's going to be how wrong I am. But I do think they'll come back because the Heat have a tendency of, like, look what they did with Milwaukee. They played fantastic until the thing that made them competitive was out. So when Giannis was out, they played some bullshit basketball and ended up giving them a game. With the Celtics, they could have knocked them out when it was up 3-1, and they played bullshit basketball and gave them a game. I think that they went into this game with, other than Iguodala and maybe Jay Crowder, and Goran Dragic, there is your NBA Finals experience on that team. There's no one else there that has experience. Jimmy's never made it. No. Not this far. Hero, obviously, he's a rookie. Kendrick Nunn is a rookie. Duncan Robinson I think this is like his 2nd or 3rd year. I don't remember for sure, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. But regardless, you've got inexperienced players into the NBA Finals. But what do you got out of, Dwight Howard's been in. Rajon Rondo's been in. LeBron, obviously, this is his 10th.
Yeah, he's been.
I think he never has.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I feel like, man, LeBron's been in, especially since we got out of school.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in. This is his 10th one.
Yeah.
I mean, he just didn't make it last year because he was hurt, so they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, that's the only one that I think he did not make it in the last decade.
It is.
Made it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that 2010, technically the 09-10 season, he got bumped up by Boston.
Yeah.
10-11, he lost to Dallas. Then they end up beating, that would have been Oklahoma City in 12. Mm-hmm. 13, they beat the Spurs, lost the Spurs in 14.
Right. He went back to Cleveland after that season, right?
Lost to Golden State.
Right.
16, they came all the way back from 3-1.
Yeah. 17,
Cleveland ended up getting beat by Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
18, what the fuck did he do in 18? Did he make the
went.
Yeah, he went to the play. Yeah, he went to the
Golden
finals.
State beat him again because that was.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Yep.
That was their.
Yep.
That was their repeat, not their three-peat. But yeah, that was because they were going for 3 against the Raptors.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be their three-peat.
Oh yeah, I was really shocked that they lost that. I really was. I didn't see Toronto. I really didn't. Even though they had Kawhi, I just didn't see that.
So Kawhi has proved himself because of Toronto. I thought Kawhi was great before, but I didn't think he was great enough to go to a championship until his play in Toronto. Then I thought he was. But look at, and I think the dumbest thing he did was go to the Clippers. I really think had he stayed in Toronto, because remember that season with Toronto, like OG Anunoby was injured almost the whole season. So he never played. But you kept the core. You still had Van Vliet, you still had Lowry, still had Gasol, still had Siakam. I mean, the only ones that left were Danny Green and Kawhi. Had Kawhi stayed there, I think he had a better chance of going to the finals than he would have with the Clippers because genuinely, I think Paul George. I think that's what held him back because one, Pat Bev is pointless. Like he's just a nuisance. I don't like Patrick Beverly.
It's like fuck Patrick Beverly.
I really can't. I hate that Westbrook said it in an interview afterwards, and he was like, "You guys hype up Pat Bev like he's so great, but all he does is foul people, and he's annoying." And it's so true. It's like, what real defensive play does Pat Bev do at all that makes him any better than anybody? Montrez, I think, is great. Lou Williams is obviously great. I thought Landry Shamet was good, but he was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Joakim Noah was a joke. They should have never picked him up. And that made me, that pissed me off because I thought Noah would have done very well, but Doc didn't really use him. And then his ass is gone. So I think that'll work for Doc, though. The rumor is Philly.
Yeah, he actually agreed today. Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah. Apparently
I think
Philly's a good spot. I think it's a good spot for him.
For him in particular, and the way he plays, the way he coaches, I think he'll do well with Ben Simmons of making him a perimeter shooter. I think he'll do well of keeping Joel Embiid's ass in the paint because, he's great, but he has no business being out in the three-point line taking shots. I love Joel Embiid, but that motherfucker is a center, and he needs to be down at best in the forward range. He doesn't need to be playing point guard.
Yeah, they gave him a 5-year deal, apparently, from ESPN.
Doc?
Yeah, they gave him a 5-year deal. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a really good coach.
He is.
Now, without that one championship, but I like Doc Rivers. I got nothing against
I like Doc.
I think if my team needed a coach and they hired Doc Rivers, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Doc is a good coach. I think he's got a good mind for it. I do think that the Clippers would have been better off having Ty Lue as the coach from the start.
Wow, really?
To Doc. Mm-hmm. Because Doc's style with Doc style, because what's his one championship? Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce. Well, and obviously Kendrick Perkins, but who fucking cares about Kendrick Perkins? He had height, and he was able to play. So he had players that he wanted to play in that environment. What height did he have with the Clippers, with other than Montrez and Noah at the end of the season? The dude plays very traditional ball, and that's the way he coaches. And in the Clippers environment, you had Kawhi and Paul George and Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, Landry Shamet. So you had these spot-up kind of shooters, not Pat Bev, but you had these smaller dudes that were spot-up shooters. And I don't think Doc could facilitate his game to fit, into that environment. Now with Philly, you got Al Horford, you got Josh Richardson, you've got Simmons and Embiid, you've got Tobias Harris. I think he'll do good in Philly, honestly. Do I think that Doc alone is going to make them a title contender in the first year? No. I do see them making playoffs.
Yeah, especially in the East.
Especially in the East, I do see them making playoffs. But I'll tell you what, man, it might just be me being, hopeless. But us picking up Billy Donovan in Chicago, I've got high hopes for what that's going to do for the Bulls. He's a great coach. Look at what he's done with Oklahoma. I mean, of his 5 years there, they made the playoffs, 4 of them. And this year, he took a team that nobody had any chance of going anywhere and made it to the playoffs. So I think Donovan will be a good coach. Anybody's going to be better than that piece of shit Jim Boylan. So, they could have...
Fuck that piece of shit.
Dude, I hate Jim Boylan. That dude... Do you remember the bullshit that came up on ESPN about that fucking clock? Like old-timey punch-in clock that he had set up in the gym for them to come and prove that they practiced?
Nah, man, I didn't hear anything about that. Please do explain this.
Because he's a dumbass, and he should have never done that. But in their practice facility, he literally had one of those old-timey, stick your card in and fucking pull the thing down, like a punch card, to prove when you entered the gym and when you left, so that it proved that you were doing the work. And it was like, you're already setting up your coaching environment and your team under a basis that sounds like, I don't trust that you actually work, so I want you to prove it. And it's like, these are NBA players that are making millions of dollars and are literally what's supposed to be the best of the best in this sport. And you're sitting there saying, nah, I think you could be better. And could the Bulls have done better? Yeah, they could have. But Lauri Markkanen was injured. Wendell Carter Jr. was sometimes injured. Otto Porter was injured. You had a freshman rookie in Kobe White, who I think was really good.
Yeah.
I think Kobe was really good. I think because he ended up making all rookie second team, I think. So he's very good. I do think he's going to be even better come his second season. Zach LaVine is a monster. Chicago, I think the thing that'll help us more than anything, get rid of the old players. There's no reason we should be paying Thad Young as much as we're paying him. There's no reason we should have Tomas Satoransky. You either need to commit to going fully young, because your core is. I mean, Zach LaVine, I think, is 25. Lauri Markkanen is 24. Kobe White is 20. Ryan Arcidiacono is, I don't know, probably somewhere in the same ballpark as Kobe, I would think. Daniel Gafford is young. I mean, it's a predominantly young core with the exception of Satoransky, Thad Young. I think it might literally just be them. Otto Porter and Wendell Carter, they're young. I think if you're going to do it, and Billy Donovan probably could make it happen, because what did he have in Oklahoma? It was young. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari. The only old players that he had was Steven Adams and Chris Paul. But the rest were young dudes. So I think the dude is a great coach. He did great in Florida. He was actually a Marshall coach for what, like a year?
Yeah, he actually, I think it was about a year or two, maybe 3, whichever. But then he went to Florida.
Short.
Yeah, it was very short. It was a very short tenure because I think he actually, if I'm not mistaken, he actually coached Jason Williams.
He was White Chocolate's coach. That's the reason he went to Florida.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, he's coached for a long time.
He has.
So and of course he won I think 2 titles in college.
In Florida. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he
so
won 2.
Old Joakim Noah was on that team.
Yeah.
Those Florida teams, those 2 years, David Lee,
mm-hmm.
Joakim Noah, you had Aldridge.
Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge.
See, that right there, just those 3 names.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not stud NBA guys. You know, Joakim Noah had a solid career. I always liked Joakim Noah, mostly because he got in LeBron's ass. You know, I always liked that. But man, Chicago's opportunity, you know, because once MJ left, you know, it went to the dumps.
Oh, it was a long time. I mean, it was till we drafted Derrick Rose.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. Yeah,
that was what, 2011.
Yeah, 2010. Because 2011, I think he won MVP.
That's right, youngest MVP, 2011.
Man, like, because I remember watching. We would have been in high school still.
Yeah,
they played Memphis. He took Memphis all the way to the national title and lost to Kansas.
Yeah,
in 2008, and like that's the first time I ever saw Derrick Rose play.
Oh, and he's so good.
Oh,
he still is good, but not to the degree he was.
That's the one guy, man. I felt bad for when he got hurt.
Oh, big time,
man. Because Derrick Rose, man, he could have been one of the best. I think
so.
You know, just getting hurt. Yep. I mean, he tore what? How many ACLs? How many times? 2 or 3?
Shit, at least 2. I think 3, but at least 2 that I can remember.
Yeah, and he just did not have it on his side. Yeah, he had that one MVP season and a few good seasons, a few great seasons. Let me say that. He just, man,
he did great in New York considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
I thought he really developed into what he currently is as a player in New York. He was incredible and could be in the debate for being one of the greatest in Chicago. Then he got injured. When he went to New York, I think he learned how to play how Derrick Rose is going to from here on out was in New York. And those were great years. Like, I honestly think he did great in Detroit this past season.
Yeah.
I thought he was great in Minnesota also. I'm glad he left Minnesota because I don't give a fuck about Minnesota. But I like him in Detroit. I read a rumor that they're talking about the possibility of a trade to the Clippers. I don't want to see that for Derrick Rose. I'd love to see him play with Kawhi, and I think he could help Kawhi's game. Yeah. But I don't want to see him in the Clippers because I genuinely think the only way that team is going to make up for what they just did is it's going to take like basically an overhaul because the team minus Kawhi has no faith in what's going on. They don't like Paul George's special treatment because they think they're better than him. Paul George doesn't like that he doesn't fit in. Paul George doesn't like the fact. I kind of think that's why Doc is gone. It's because you remember he fucked Doc Rivers' daughter, or he cheated on Doc Rivers' daughter with a stripper. That was it.
Oh,
I kind of think that's the whole reason that Doc is gone is he went there because Kawhi wanted him, and he's like, oh, yeah, easy title. I got this. So he's like, oh, okay, I'll put up with the fact that Doc Rivers is there. Once they lose, he's like, fuck this. This is awkward. Get out of here. So they sign off on Doc.
I think the thing is with Paul George is I think he's extremely overrated.
I do too.
You know, and I think, you know, he had that really bad injury. What was it, 2013, 2014, something like that? When he shattered.
Still in Indiana, right?
Yeah, he had those good seasons there, and I think really ever since then, man, what the fuck has he done?
Nothing comparatively.
Nothing elite has he done. He's a really great player, but he is not elite by any stretch of the imagination. Now, Kawhi, yes,
He's elite.
He's
yep.
elite.
Yep. I
Paul
agree.
George. I think Stephen A. Smith said something the other day. Oh man, if I could think of it. Let me find that before we end tonight, because I'm not a big Paul George guy. I think he's
I like Paul George. I think he's a solid player. I will say I like his shoes more than I like him. I actually have a pair of his PG4s sitting over here in a box right now.
So this is what Stephen A. Smith said. Paul George is in danger of becoming the next Dwight Howard.
He's right.
Yeah.
And I don't love agreeing with Stephen A. Smith because I don't very often, but he is and I see the point he's making is
exactly, because he was great early on.
Dwight was fantastic.
No, I'm not saying now. I think Paul George is a better player than what Dwight was in the shitty years.
Yep, I do too.
I think Dwight went through a phase or stretch where he was just ass cheeks. He was a two-pack of ass and then some. And he had those years with Kobe. I mean, Kobe, dog, I mean, he was soft.
Yeah, he was. And that was the whole reason he hated Dwight, is because he knew Dwight, same reason he didn't get along with Shaq, is Shaq could have been, probably in Kobe standard, he thought Shaq could have been the greatest player of all time if he put in work.
Yeah. Oh, Shaq even said that.
Yeah, and I think Dwight was the same way, not about the greatest player of all time, but I think Dwight could have been genuinely one of the best centers of all time, but he bitched out as soon as he got to Los Angeles. And then from then on, it wasn't even a steady decline. It was just a straight drop.
It was a fucking tank.
Yeah, and he did, I mean, what was it, five teams in 5 years or something like that?
I know he went to, went to Atlanta.
Houston,
Atlanta.
Washington.
Yeah, Washington. I want to see he went to Charlotte.
I think maybe. I know he was at Memphis and got bought out by Memphis before the Lakers. Like, he didn't play a single game in Memphis. They waived him basically as soon as they got him.
Yeah, he started out in Orlando.
Yep.
Went to the Lakers, went to the Rockets, went to Atlanta, went to Charlotte, and went to Washington, and then went to LA.
Yep.
See, I mean, he made the All-Star team from 2007 to 2014, so he wasn't like a slouch in those terms, but
compared to what he could be.
Dude, Dwight was dominant.
Oh, yeah.
And especially in the Orlando years from like the 2007 and through 11 or whichever it was, however long he was there. Yeah, I mean, he was dominant.
Because look how much Shaq hated him because of how dominant he was. That meant Shaq felt threatened by him.
Yeah.
Which means he's fucking elite.
The whole Superman shit, though. That's what put old Shaq.
I know that got his ego. Would I ever put Dwight in the same echelon as Shaq? No. Shaq was the most, I still think to this day, the most dominant center of all time is Shaq.
Yeah. But you had people in 2010 that would have considered it.
Yeah.
That Dwight was up there with Shaq.
Sure. Yeah.
But outside of that, once he went to LA and once he had that debacle,
oh yeah,
it was
he
that
shit
was
the
it.
Bed, man.
Yeah, he shit the fucking bed.
Yeah, he shit the bed.
Like he just said, you know what? Kobe was like, man, you saw that gif. Yeah. It was like saw, like, dude, that shit's hilarious. I love that shit.
That's what's so funny is I feel like you said with the Lakers, he went there because he wanted an easy title, and Kobe, like I said, Kobe hated his guts, and then from then on, Dwight thought that his name would carry enough to where he could ride it out for contracts from then on, and he didn't think he had to produce. And in fairness, in Atlanta, it was still fresh enough. Houston, it was still fresh enough to where it was like Dwight Howard, that's a big name. Yeah. Atlanta, it was starting to fall off, but post-Atlanta, like Washington, no one gave a Charlotte. I forgot he was even in Charlotte until you said it. Too. So that is how shitty Dwight's career was in Charlotte and Washington. I don't know, man. I don't see. It's going to be hard for the Heat to beat the Lakers, it's going to take like every spot up shooter that they've got because Miami doesn't have the height advantage. Lakers have them stacked on height, and obviously they have Anthony Davis who can play any position. It's going to take Tyler Hero. It's going to take Goran Dragic. It's going to take Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn. All of their like lights out shooters are literally going to have to shoot. Everything that they shoot is going to have to go because you're not getting into the paint. Refs are going to call every single foul against you because the Lakers are like not in the good sense like the Pistons, like the bad boy Pistons, because it was a different era. But the play style of the Lakers where they'll fucking dirty foul you as much as possible, but because it's a LeBron James team, nothing gets fucking called. Like, I think in that first game, I saw Miami went to the free throw line 7 times, I think total for the night. LeBron and Anthony Davis combined went to the free throw line like over 20. Just in the 2 of them. Not to mention the rest of your fucking players, but the entire team of Miami in 4 periods, they went 7 times. I think that was right. I'll check it if not. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about is like they know the same reason Golden State and Cleveland worked is because it was good for ratings. It's the same thing here. They're not going to screw LeBron because it's good for ratings on television. There's enough LeBron fanboys that just want to see it.
Oh, I mean, so I'll give you my prediction before we do get off here. So tell me your projection right now. Your prediction. Mm-hmm. Is this going to be a sweep? Do you see this going 7 games? You see it 6? What do you see? And I'll give you mine before we get off here. I just want to see what you think about this.
I'm sticking with it even after that first game. I see Miami I saw Miami in 6 after first game and how much they fouled so many of our players. Like Jimmy twisted his ankle. That was his own fault. Goran, I think, stepped on Rondo's foot because he put his foot underneath him while he was coming down off of a shot. Dirty foul. Bam Adebayo got slammed by Dwight Howard. Like, our players are getting roughed in every move that they do. So if they can get around the fouls that Los Angeles are going to throw at them, I do have Miami in 7.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my thing, and I think this is what's going to happen. I'm saying LA in 6. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I mean, if they're lucky 6, but it really depends on how they come out in game 2. If they come out in game 2, if they're flat again, I'm taking Lakers in a gentleman's sweep 4-1. I'm taking them in 5.
Yeah.
If they come out with a strong game 2, then we can talk about going 6 games. But from what I saw, in the highlights that I've seen, I'm taking LA in 5. Yeah. I can see Miami getting 1. If this would have been like a year ago and they're playing in Miami, I'd give them definitely, LA in 6.
If this was a normal series.
Yeah, if this was a normal series, Miami at home, at least 3 games at home, I'm giving them 2, at least. Mm-hmm. And they might maybe stretch one out in LA, maybe. But, I'm taking LA in 6. Actually, I'm taking LA in 5 right now.
After that first game, I see why.
But if Miami comes out and balls out in game 2, LA in 6.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I see why people are predicting it, and my brain probably tells me I should go Lakers as well.
Yeah,
but
I want Miami to win. I'm just saying.
It's not even from a want perspective for me. That team has got so much heart is the reason. They remind me of the 2004 Pistons is why I'm going Miami. Because who did the 2004 Pistons have that was like literally elite? Nobody. I mean, they had Ben and Rasheed Wallace. They had
Big Shot Billups.
They did have Chauncey Billups.
Listen, man, I'm a huge Billups fan.
I love Chauncey Billups. I think he's a great player. But Rip Hamilton, who in
they
there?
They had a bunch of solid.
They had
solid players, like B+. I'm biased. I'd put I'd put Billups in A-.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Other than that, they were
too.
all B+.
Yep.
Tayshaun Prince. I love that team. I'm not even
That's a
Detroit
great team.
fan, but that era of Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah.
They ended up making the conference finals at least 4 times in that little stretch.
And they went against like a super strong Los Angeles and won.
Oh, dude, that LA team. They still had Shaq.
Still had
Karl Malone.
Yeah, had Carl Gary Payton. Gary Payton was on that Lakers.
You had a prime Kobe.
Yeah.
You had Shaq still
prime.
They're on the edge of his prime, even though he won in Miami. So I'm still not saying he wasn't out of his prime.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that Detroit team, they should have beaten the Spurs.
I agree.
In 05. They should have beaten the Spurs.
I think, like I said, that Heat, that Pistons is why I got this Heat, because Jimmy is an A- player. I don't think he's A+ or anything. And the rest of that team is like B+ at best. Yeah. But they're solid. Every one of their players is solid to the point where it reminds me of that Pistons. And that Pistons went up against the Lakers that had no business beating that Lakers, like at all. That should have never even been in contention. That's the reason I've got Miami, is because these dudes are dogs, man.
That is actually a very good comparison. Now, I don't watch basketball as much as, say, you do or anything, but from the outside and not watching the sport as much, thinking about it, that comparison is very good.
Yeah.
With the they don't have. I mean, the only two you can compare Jimmy Butler and Billups. As in, I'll admit I wasn't a big Jimmy Butler fan. Before a couple years ago. Here recently, I'm becoming more of a Jimmy Butler fan.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, those Detroit teams, I
love dogs, man.
Oh man,
and that's the same thing with Miami. It's just they have that dog mentality of you back them up into a corner, they're gonna fight.
That's what I'm saying. They're not going to get swept.
No,
I don't see that. No. That's why I'm taking LA right now from what I saw.
Yeah.
5 games.
And I get it.
Yeah, from what I can only go off what I saw.
Sure.
Now I'm hoping we get 7 games. I'm hoping, but
I'll tell you right now, if it does go to 7, period, I don't care if it's Lakers take it all the way up to where it's like 3-0, and then Miami's got to come back 3 straight to make it 7. If it goes to 7 games, Miami is going to take it, because they're going to come out in that 7th game and they're going to tear them apart. Period.
That's the thing about how it is right now within the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the same thing with hockey.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge. Let me just say this. I thought it would suck more watching games.
I agree.
But I think they did a really good job, especially both NHL and NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching playoff hocky.
Yeah.
With the fans, awesome. This and that. It was definitely different because you rely on team morale.
Yeah.
Your own team to boost you up. It has nothing to do with home field. That's what kind of sucked about Vegas getting the 1 seed.
Right.
It was just what do you get out of it? You play an AC Chicago. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Chicago is not one of the greatest teams, but Chicago is a solid team.
Oh yeah. Even where we were at, we were still solid, but
and that's the thing. You don't have. It's not a normal year where it's okay, man. You got a home field advantage.
Yeah.
You got to play 4 games in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing.
It's
I think the Dallas series would have ended up a lot different. Dallas was definitely a better team, I thought.
For sure. Than
Tampa?
Yeah, I would say so. I think they're a better team.
Yeah. Now, I think it was very interesting and everything like that, but I do like what they did with the bubbles and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things, where it's completely different on how home field, home court, whatever.
No fans.
I mean,
that makes a huge difference in the way you're playing.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, man, that's let's see.
We definitely probably hit the mark.
Oh, we hit the mark, all right. Sweet. Man, I do appreciate you coming on and everything, man. It's always nice catching back up with you.
Always do.
But yeah, man, I'll be watching the games. So
I am.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, man, keep an eye on it.
Definitely.
If Miami comes out, game 2 starts throwing them up, we might go 6 games, but that's gonna make game 3 even bigger. But if Miami goes down 2-0,
I could see why people are counting it if it goes down 2-0. I don't disagree with anybody going Lakers in 5 or Lakers in 6. I kind of disagree with people thinking they're going to sweep them because Miami's just too tough.
No,
but
I don't think
I do agree, or I see where like people like you and other analysts would look at that and say, yeah, it's going to be 5 or yeah, it's going to be 6. But I don't know, man. I just got a gut feeling. I got a gut feeling about Jimmy Butler. I got a gut feeling about the experience they've got with Iguodala and Jay Crowder and Goran Dragic. I don't know. I think this could be a good series.
If Miami wins it,
yeah,
I'll bring you back on right after.
Yeah,
I want to re-talk about this. So,
I'll be the only person who was right about it.
So this guy right here, tell him your prediction one more time.
Yeah.
So that way it's there, it's out there. So that way there's no confusion. What's your prediction right now?
I got Miami in 7. Probably the only person that's got Miami, period, other than I think I've seen one person on ESPN that said Miami's going to win it. But, yeah, Miami in 7 is what I got.
Okay. So everyone heard it. Josh Belcher is saying Miami in 7.
It's in writing.
If Miami does win, he'll be back on, and we'll come back and talk about it. But, man, you can come back anytime you want. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It was awesome.
It's always nice talking with you and everything.
Always.
But